Welcome to TAO-Living, the Art of Living podcast with your host, Luke Corletto, where you will be supported to remember that you are the driver and not the vehicle, so that you can walk your life in trust.
Welcome back to the TAO-Living podcast, the Art of Living. And this episode is all about those people. So I am actually on lunch break with my year-long mentorship group. They're eating, and I thought I would take a moment to share an episode unpacking some of what we unpacked this morning, because they're becoming those people. What do I mean by those people? So not just the stereotypical when we or I or you, those people. Yeah, there's judgment in that. What I invite you to do is look underneath the judgment. So for instance, as a gift, right? So for me, when I've shared another podcast, so before I have done the work, and I still do the work regularly every day to grow and evolve myself. Before I did though, when I saw somebody doing something, having something, or being a way that I wasn't, in order to make myself feel better, I would judge them and come up with a story in my head of how or why they achieved that, which usually cut them down, the judgment, right? And it's psychological, human psychology, right? In a defense mechanism in order to make me feel better, right? And I'm not the only one on the planet who did it, right? So if you are, this is a gift for that. Now, what I mean by becoming those people, well, it's the flip side of the judgment, learning to bless it. So if you see somebody in your life who is experiencing something, having something, doing something, or being in a way that you desire but aren't currently doing, learn to bless it. If they have something in the material world, a house or a car that you desire but don't currently have, start blessing them for having it, which then changes everything inside of you instead of judging them and coming up with a story of why they have it and you don't, to make yourself feel better. So not about making yourself feel bad, it's about blessing, which opens to abundance, and then being willing to do the work to grow yourself in order to achieve, have, do, or be the thing that you recognize and see that you don't currently have access to, or you have not brought it into your life quite yet, right? So it could be a male or female who has a body type that you want and don't currently have. Bless it, and then what do I need to do to achieve that? If it's in the material world, right, the car or the house or the thing, bless it that they have it, and then who do I need to become in order to allow that in my life? So for instance, I just happened to see in the lens as a reflection, this shirt that I'm currently wearing, I actually bought in Tibet. And so years and years ago, so growing up, I had never left the country. And so my travel was limited, very limited, mainly to the East Coast where I grew up. And so people who traveled, even within the United States, because that was my background, they were those people. They were rich, they were lucky, silver spoon. I created some story of how they were able to do what I wasn't currently doing, but wanted to, right, secretly. And or I made up a story about why I didn't want to travel, something to reduce the conflict of what I was feeling versus what I truly desired. Yeah, makes sense? And so when I go back to this shirt I actually bought in Tibet. I was in Tibet, right, with the monks in sacred temples. So I've become one of those people. I went from not leaving the US to now having literally traveled and explored all 7 continents and over 60 countries. I say that not from a bragging right, from an evidence box for myself and for those who are listening of the transformation who I was required to grow into in order to allow myself to do those things. So I became one of those people. When I used to travel on airplanes, or even way back in the day when I would drive a car 15 hours instead of flying because I couldn't afford the ticket, and then I would judge people that were flying, right? oh, they're wasting money. You can drive, making up a story that I loved road trips. I do enjoy road trips, but a 15-hour drive versus a 3-hour flight, I'll pick the 3-hour flight anytime anymore. Yeah, again, my preference, not making that right for you. So when I started flying, the people that sat in first class were just like crazy. Why would you spend that much money to sit up there, when you're only a few feet away from me and I'm paying, 1/5 of the ticket price? So you wasting money, right? Story. Until I had my experience of flying in first class for the first time. And now the majority of my flights are first class, and stay with it as part of the work. I don't pay for them. I get them upgraded free. It's part of my dance with life about manifesting. I love doing it. Yes, I can afford to do that, but I like manifesting them to get them to be upgraded as gifts from life. Yeah. And so I'm sharing as another experience from those people to becoming one of those people, right? So the thing that I was judging, I am now have become. Be mindful. And so what aspect of your life is there something that you see those people that you can now use the judgment to learn, if you have it, to bless it and then embrace, cool, what do I need to do to become that, to be that, to have that, to achieve that? Success, health, wealth, the career that you want, the place to live in, the places to travel. Right now, I'm standing in Lydia and myself, my partner. We have blessed ourselves with living in the forest. We live in a beautiful, large-sized piece of property at the foothills of the Cherokee National Forest. When I walked out to put the camera on the stand, I just passed deers and turtles and the largest wild turkey I've ever seen. It was just massive. I had to blink twice to make sure it was a turkey, not something else. Right here in our backyard. Blessed. I have no sounds from man. All the sounds around me are nature. I'm imbued in nature because it's what I choose and desire. But decades ago, that was out of my reach. That's for those people. You follow me? Yeah. And so that's the whole point of this episode, which is how do you become those people, one of those people? That might be somebody who speaks their truth, right? It might not be acquiring anything, but a certain way of being, of behaving, confidence, competence, in your line of work, your vocation. How do you become like the most successful person that you see? Embrace what they're doing, right? Learn from them. So study from those people. How are they showing up? How do they think? Obviously in alignment, because there are those people who you might not want to use as a reference point or a mentor. So make sure it's in alignment with your core values and who you be and all that yummy stuff. So assess. In August, I have a 2-3-day event called Life by Design. And the whole point of that is becoming one of those people, you yourself. And we cover the 8 critical domains of life: spirituality, career, vocation, right? We go from job, career to vocation, to do what you love what you do, and get paid for it. A whole different level of freedom. Personal empowerment, community. How do you give back? How do you receive from your community? How do you create sacred community? How do you improve all of your relationships? Because you're the source of your relationships, right? So you might be looking at those people who have the dynamic relationship that you're looking for, and a partner, that there's love and respect and sensuality and compassion and touch versus conflict and fighting and disempowerment that you might be experiencing. Instead of judging it, bless it and discover what's occurring there and what is the work that's required within you to achieve that and grow into it, right? So that's the offer. That's the invitation for all of us. That's what I choose to do on a regular basis. I surround myself with people who help me grow by pointing out where I'm not being the essence of who I am. I'm choosing something else. Lack, limitation, fear, old patterns, habits, right? Showing up in a way that's not in alignment to who I am. And I love receiving that. It's not always fun to hear it, but it's essential for my growth. I believe it is for everybody. I'm just putting myself on the line at the moment. So what are the action steps you can do that? First, I invite you to notice if you have those judgments, as I've shared, that I used to carry about somebody who has or is being something that you desire but don't. Notice that first, and it's just a way to make yourself feel better. Stop that, your judgment and that judgment. Start blessing. Good on you, right? Congratulations. When I drive down the street and I see somebody running down the road, good on you, right? Congratulations, because I'm not taking the time right now to put in 5 miles on the road. So kudos. And by blessing it, I can then bring that into my life. Versus judging, I create more separation and distance. What are the other ways that you can become one of those people? A core piece, as I have mentioned, that I recently put out 2 brand new courses, conscious languaging. That's a huge piece because it is the gift to clean up limiting beliefs in your unconscious that's residing in the subconscious patterns of your biocomputer. And until those are handled and addressed, you'll keep looping and hitting limitations in your life. Whatever those limitations are: success, health, wealth, abundance, happiness, joy, fulfillment, across the border. Because there is some preset limitation. Until you're aware of what it is, it can't be handled. And conscious languaging is a profound tool to do that. And I have 2 brand new courses that are currently being released. Conscious Languaging 1.0, the fundamentals, the groundwork, the core essence. And then 2.0 goes further down the rabbit hole. It's called the awakening process. It unpacks perceptions and actuality and reality. It really goes deep into the flow. So those are great gifts out there. There's more podcast episodes that support this exact episode as well, to keep assessing, addressing, and then living into the person that you need to become, which is just a truer version of yourself, to allow the things that you're looking for that you don't currently have, right? If they're in the material world, great. If they're in other aspects of the world and the sense of success and fulfillment that are non-material, yeah, I highly encourage you for that, as that's more fulfilling. Most people, a large part of the human population is into collecting a lot of the material world to create this feeling of success or happiness or fulfillment, but you can't take that stuff with you, right? It's nice to have the toys, it is, but beyond that, there's greater realms of well-being, right? The inner peace, non-material, confidence, self-love, self-respect, right? Much more yummy aspects and attributes to have. A dynamic, vibrant relationship with your loved ones, your family, your intimate partner. So become one of those people. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the TAO-Living podcast. If the 3-day Life by Design resonates, there'll be a link under this episode. Check it out. Love to have you. And the online courses, tap into them. Great resources. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing this with those you love. And together, we can make a difference. Until next time, abundant blessings. Peace. Ciao.
To connect further and dive deeper, you can always reach me at my website, loucorleto.com, LOUCORLETO, or in the social channels, Facebook, loucorleto.official, Instagram, Lou_Corleto, Twitter, Lou_Corleto, and LinkedIn. Until next time, remember who you be. Abundant blessings.